Let's have a look at the containers, the patient containers, particularly into the patient diagnosis list. Here we see the list of all entered events, and then we see by section previous transplantation, infection diseases, condition leading to transplantations, cardiopulmonary, metabolic, neoplasia, skin cancer, and other events. Let's go one by one. In previous transplantation, here we have a very simple form that is date, with date accuracy that is by default set to exact date, and it can be changed, of course. Type of previous transplantation and comment. Can be deleted or edited. Now let's go into the infectious diseases. If we add pre-enrollment infectious disease, here we can see the list of major pre-enrollment infectious diseases. We enter the date. Date accuracy is pre-filled. A comment can be entered and then saved. And we can see here the entry. In cases of post-enrollment infectious disease, here what we see, it's basically the ID form, here with the indication of the date when the simplified collection will start from. Infection that required hospitalization, so in case we are in the simplified ID data collection, it's pre-filled with yes. Date, date accuracy, pre-filled, clinical type, type of pathogen, potential donor-related infection, reduction of immunosuppression. Here we can then enter one or multiple infection sites. And in case we made a mistake, we can remove one or more than one entry. Antibiotic treatment, pathogen. Based on the bacteria that we select, then we will see that also the resistance or resistances appear and can be filled in. And again, multiple bacteria can be entered, and then we save. And then we see here the entered bacterial infection. And if we go in all events, we see here the bacterial infection enters as well. And here the tuberculosis entry. Then we go into condition leading to transplantation. This is actually a new, let's say, mechanism to enter entries that indeed are conditions leading to transplantation and can be then, in case of transplantation or future transplantation, being selected, therefore confirmed as condition leading to that specific transplantation. This to avoid that actually these diseases have to be re-entered. Okay, here, in order to support the data entry, especially the transition from what used to be the data entry related to underlying diseases and current way, here you can see actually by organ the lists of underlying diseases as they used to be in the old system. This actually to remind you actually what was expected to be entered in those fields. And here just an example of how it works, because of course one of these entries could be, you can see it here, for example, liver metastasis from colorectal cancer. And if we enter this, we jump directly into neoplasia. And therefore, here we can enter the specific entry. Therefore, here we know that it's liver metastasis from colorectal cancer, biopsy ID, date of diagnosis. It was newly detected back then, and indeed there were also distant metastases, and we save and continue. And now we can see that actually we have this entry in neoplasia that we just saved, and if we go into condition leading to transplantation, indeed it appears here as well. Then we go into cardiopulmonary. Here, both for the pre-enrollment and the post-enrollment cardiopulmonary, the structure is the simple one. It's organized in date accuracy, disease, and comment if any. Metabolic as well. We have what it's considered as a simple form with these 4 fields. Neoplasia, we just seen it. Skin cancer as well. It is composed by a pre-enrollment that it's very simple, and a more articulated form for the post-enrollment, in which we have cancer status that is connected to a main entry, to a main cancer that can be, for example, at the beginning newly detected and then followed by a progression or a relapse. Then we have other events. Here we have two simple forms, both pre-enrollment and post-enrollment. In case of post-enrollment, here we can enter, for example, in case of the Swiss tolerance study in Zurich, where we have actually a bone marrow transplantation after kidney transplantation. This transplantation can be entered here in other events and diseases with the date accuracy, and then here other, and then in the comment we enter actually the promised number and also the indication Swiss tolerance study, and save the entry.